Hi everyone, I'm Tanzela Williams. I'm the Vice Principal at Sir Christopher Hatton Academy for Teaching and Learning.
And I'm Jessica Duncan. I'm the Research Coordinator at Hatton. So we'd love to share with you today our teaching and learning model at Sir Christopher Hatton, and in particular our ongoing focus on helping staff to collaborate. We often talk about that needing the time to pause and reflect on our practice, but without that time and support, this is a lot easier said than done. We've recently been recognised by the SSAT for our culture of reflection, but we really want to reach out to you today and hope to collaborate with other schools too.
Okay, so we are going to talk about a model where staff meet in cross-curricular groups on a fortnightly basis, and they meet within their school day. So they have a dedicated time in the school day where they meet and they discuss different topics to do with our school priorities about giving students a voice. So it's to do with vocabulary, speaking, listening and questioning. And we're going to talk about a cycle called Research, Reflect and Observe today.
So the reason that we do this is really to help our students be 21st century ready by being confident speakers, have a love of reading and be accomplished writers. And our focus is to both develop, embed and refine these skills. So we know that it is an ongoing journey, and we want our staff to feel supported in ways that they can do this through their curriculum innovation and their classroom practice and creating those cross-curricular links.
So the first session is called Research. So Jess, who's our head of research, provides them with all of the research that they need. It's accessible, it's relevant, and they can use it in their classroom practice. They meet in their cross-curricular groups and they discuss the research that's been given to them.
Here is an example of that first research session where the research is given to them, the jargon's removed, and it's definitely relating more to how it would affect the classroom and in particular how it would affect our students. In that group, they are then given different examples of what they could try. So whether they try some of these things in the classroom, they discuss what they might want to give a go at, but also any ideas of their groups. So things they might already be doing in the classroom that they can now have the opportunity to share with the other staff who aren't in their department.
So the next session is then called Reflect. So they've had the 2 weeks and they have been trialing all of these ideas, being risk takers, using the research to put things into their classroom. They then meet in their cross-curricular group again within the school day to discuss what has worked and what hasn't worked. And they work with each other, they collaborate with each other in order to share any obstacles that they can overcome in order to move forward with this.
So here's an example of what the Reflex session looks like, and hopefully, as you can see, staff are still supported on how those conversations go. So we want them to discuss what worked. We really want them to discuss also what didn't, how students reacted, and what other ideas might have been sparked from these experiments, I suppose, in the classroom, and what would they like to now continue. And also just, again, that time to think if there's anything else that they've thought of since or else in their department that they've been discussing whilst reflecting on this.
And then 2 weeks later, we have this fantastic week in our calendar, which is called Watch Others Work. So we have a time where staff pre-COVID would walk around the entire school and go observe a range of different teachers to observe all of the great practice that has been going on around the school to do with the teaching and learning priority of that term and of that cycle. And on the right is an example of what we asked for. We asked for no paperwork. We remove all of extra work or minutes from the meetings, but we do ask them to share effective strategies that they observed and why they were effective and how they can incorporate into their own teaching. So we can collate all of these ideas and share them across the school.
Yeah, and we think that sharing these ideas with a selection in what we call our Hatton highlights is really important. So pulled out from those Wow Weeks sheets are what staff celebrated, but also what students fed back as well. So it's not only a lovely way to end each of these cycles and each of the terms, because the positives help motivate the staff on what they are doing is having an impact, and it's beneficial both to them and our students. And we've got an example for you there on the right.
And another way that we share good practice as well as our Hatton highlights is weekly teaching and learning briefings. These are run by different members of staff from the staff body, and they share all of the great practice that they've been seeing or trialing. So this is a great time to pause, listen and reflect.
So lots of the feedback from our staff is that they really enjoy the WOW weeks, and it's a good opportunity to see other teachers from outside the department, but also that they really enjoy the group sessions, and it has a really positive forum for discussion. They've been given that time just to really have a think and chat with others they don't normally get the opportunity to meet and talk with. And we feel that also the amount that volunteers do the Wednesday briefing just shows that they feel supported and really want to share what they're up to.
So obviously we want to measure the impact. Is it worthwhile that we're doing? Does it have an impact on student outcomes? So obviously, as Jess mentioned, we have so many staff wanting to share in our teaching and learning briefings, but also we were recognised by ESSA on a national level. It was a very thorough process, and that they recognise that we have a culture of reflection across the school and collaboration that takes place. That was very exciting.
So here is some of the feedback they shared with us, and it was lovely to read that our staff genuinely feel supported and part of the culture at Hatton of reflection, and that the biggest drive was just their commitment to the programme. And in particular, it was raised that maybe sometimes we're maybe a bit modest with this programme, and that was one of the reasons we wanted to create this session today, because not only do we want our staff to feel supported, but we also want to reach out to other schools and maybe work together on the different literacy ideas.
So we've gone through this quite quickly to make sure we fit in with the time, but there's so much that we wish to discuss. So please get in contact with us. But we think it's really important that staff have time within the school day in order to discuss research. We also think it's important that staff meet in cross-curricular groups to share different ideas across and work with different people. So we want to continue with this, and we also want to work with other schools like yourself. So thank you very much for listening.
Yeah, thank you for your time, and it would be great to hear from you either on the Twitter or you could feel free to email us below.